Welcome, race fans, and welcome back to the Toros Squad Racing GT3 Championship. After an exciting opening round, Season 1 moves to the United Kingdom and the legendary Oulton Park. A beautiful circuit. A fast circuit. And a circuit with exactly the right amount of grass to ruin somebody's Saturday. Round 1 gave us a championship battle that could not be any closer. Andrew Fairbrother arrives as the championship leader with 60 points, but Carlos A. Yanez is just 1 point behind. 1 point! Paul Appledorn sits third with 54. Ben Roost is still right in the fight with 50. And behind them, Hayden Ward, Misael Flores, and Alberto A. Yanez are all waiting for their opportunity to strike. So the big question is, can anybody stop Andrew Fairbrother? Carlos is only 1 point away. Ben is back and ready to fight. Misael will be looking to climb the standings. And Alberto has already shown that he belongs in this championship. But this weekend, we also welcome Zhao Wenchen and Philip Kolodisky to the grid. And with Philip carrying number 13, well, that could mean good luck, bad luck, or simply extra entertainment for the rest of us. Oulton Park will not make things easy. 40 minutes of racing, fixed setups, dynamic weather, a mandatory pit stop, and only 30% fuel. So yes, the drivers need to be fast, but they also need to calculate fuel, time the pit stop, survive the traffic, and somehow remember where the track goes. Before we go any further, today's broadcast is proudly brought to you by Toros Squad Racing, building a community where clean, competitive racing comes first, and by mfloresracing.club, following the NASCAR journey of the number 27 machine, one race, one lap, and one battle at a time. Be sure to check them out and support the people helping make broadcasts like this possible. Now, who wins round 2? Does Andrew extend his championship lead? Does Carlos steal the top spot? Can Ben close the gap? Will Misael make a charge through the field? Can Alberto climb into the top 5? Or will one of our newest competitors completely shake up the championship? One thing is certain. Al and Dex will bring you every battle, every overtake, every strategy call, and every moment when someone discovers that the grass at Oulton Park is definitely not part of the racing line. This is round 2 of the Toros Squad Racing.
One lap to green. Line up on the right side. Everyone's gridded. Pit road is closed. One to go. Next time by. Get ready, going green.
All right, we're green. Be smooth, be smart. Hey, did you see that? Did you see that switchback? Al, name. Someone's going on the overtake of the day list.
Position gained. Carlos is now P2. Sector 2, Carlos is 0.8 seconds behind P1. P3 is 0.3 seconds behind Carlos.
Al, who has decided the tires, fuel, or both need some attention?
Paul, car number 3 has recently been through pit lane and is now running P1. That could matter as the race settles.
Sneaky. Somebody is playing the long game out there.
Dex, how does the field feel from your side of the desk?
At Le Mans, the sun rises at Terre Rouge. It's beautiful, also blinding, and more than one race leader has missed their breaking point right there.
The data does not object to that interpretation.
Somebody has been avoiding incidents like they cost real money. Who is it?
Carlos, car number 32 is one of the cleanest drivers right now, with 0 incidents.
No unnecessary contact, no wild adventures, just a very well-managed race. Lap complete. The tires would like a short break and possibly therapy. Another lap down and the fuel calculator is starting to sweat.
End of lap 1. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, Carlos is holding the gap to P1 at 1.0 seconds. Carlos has increased the gap to P3, it is now 1.5 seconds. Dex, what is your read on the rhythm of this race?
Car 8 is driving with unbelievable confidence. Slightly concerning levels of confidence, honestly.
That is a cleaner summary than I expected from you.
Professional drivers don't just react to slides, they expect them before they happen. One more lap in the books. Al, hit me with the truth. Are we actually improving?
End of lap 2. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased. Carlos is now 3.1 seconds behind. P3 has reduced the gap to Carlos, it is now 0.9 seconds. Dex, what is the story you are watching on track right now?
There's a famous saying in endurance racing, to finish first you must actually finish. Revolutionary concept.
A little dramatic, but the race may justify it. Dex, keep it useful and tell us what you are seeing.
Car 17 is collecting off tracks like their loyalty points.
Understood. Back to the race picture. Dex, give us one racing thought from the booth.
Car 5 is attacking these corners like the tires are completely free.
That matches the race picture from my side.
One more lap complete.
End of lap 3. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased. Carlos is now 4.1 seconds behind. Carlos has increased the gap to P3, it is now 1.2 seconds. Dex, give us the human version of what the race is doing.
Al, be honest. How many drivers here are actually running the fuel they think they're running? Statistically speaking, not enough.
Useful observation. Slightly theatrical, but useful.
Fun fact, the 24 Hours of Le Mans has been running since 1923, which means drivers have been sleep deprived and emotionally unstable there for over a century.
Dex, this is a good moment for a race observation.
The Mazda 787B was so loud at Le Mans 1991, it shattered earplugs. It also won. Rotary engines, scream now, apologize never.
Fair red, Dex. I will keep watching the numbers behind it.
1x because apparently the circuit wasn't wide enough.
New incident X1, total 1.
Another lap gone and the mirrors are still full of bad intentions.
End of lap 4. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased. Carlos is now 5.3 seconds behind. P3 has reduced the gap to Carlos, it is now 0.5 seconds. Dex, where should the audience be paying attention?
Car 20 is absolutely committed right now. The car may not agree, but the driver certainly does.
Good point. I will keep tracking the data.
Fun fact, GT3 racing became popular partly because fans loved seeing totally different cars fighting together. Also because loud engines make everyone happy.
Agreed. The next few laps should tell us more.
Back in the day, F1 cars had manual gearboxes and clutch pedals. Heel and toe at 300 km per hour, that was Tuesday for Senna. 1x.
New incident X1, total 2.
The engineer is happy, probably temporarily.
End of lap 5. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased. Carlos is now 5.8 seconds behind. Carlos is holding the gap to P3 at 0.4 seconds. Dex, what is your read on the rhythm of this race?
Car 2 is so committed into these braking zones, even physics seems slightly nervous.
The data does not object to that interpretation.
Who is quietly doing something interesting while everyone watches the chaos.
Let's look at Zaowen, car number 1. Zaowen started in P2 and is currently running P3, losing 1 position. Zaowen has 4 incidents. Zaowen's last lap is about 1.1 seconds slower than the fastest lap of the race.
Right, that gives us something to watch as the next few laps unfold. End of the lap and we're still in one piece. That's progress. Al, tell me we're not last.
End of lap 6. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased. Carlos is now 6.6 seconds behind. Carlos has increased the gap to P3, it is now 0.9 seconds.
Dex closes battle 11 Al, who is currently close enough to start asking for the Wi-Fi password.
The closest battle is currently for P3. Carlos and Zaowen are separated by only 1.2 seconds.
Solid, not spectacular. Who owns the fastest lap right now? Al, who has been the quickest driver on track today.
The fastest driver so far is Paul, car number 3, with a best lap of 1:34.333.
Somebody is clearly operating at a different level right now. Lovely. When the numbers look that good, even Al starts sounding almost impressed. And just sarcastic enough toward physics.
End of lap 7. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased. Carlos is now 7.1 seconds behind. Carlos is holding the gap to P3 at 1.0 seconds. Dex, give me the broadcast read on how this race is unfolding.
There's a classic motorsport rumor that drivers can identify rival cars purely by engine sound while racing at full speed.
A little dramatic, but the race may justify it.
Al, who has made the biggest escape from their starting position.
Alberto, car number 4 is the biggest climber so far. Alberto started in P6 and is now running P4, gaining 2 positions.
Proper, no unnecessary drama, just a genuinely impressive performance. Al, which driver has kept the incident counter busiest today?
Joao, car number 2 currently has the highest incident total with 10 incidents.
Damn, that is not the update anyone wanted to hear. That lap was fast enough to impress people, and dangerous enough to concern mechanics.
End of lap 8. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased. Carlos is now 8.1 seconds behind. Carlos has increased the gap to P3, it is now 1.6 seconds. Dex, how does the field feel from your side of the desk?
You ever wonder what happens if you never lift in turn 1? Me neither. But someone out there is about to find out. Place your bets, folks.
That is one to keep an eye on.
You've got about 2 laps of
Al,
fuel left.
hit activity on the timing screen. Talk us through what is happening.
Zaowen, car number 1 has recently been through pit lane and is now running P3. That could matter as the race settles.
Smart. That is the kind of decision that can change a race.
The car in P1 just set the fastest lap. 34.158.
Dex, give us one racing thought from the booth.
599. The car behind you.
Paddock gossip says engineers trust data more than drivers, until the driver suddenly becomes faster.
That matches the race picture from my side.
That lap looked fast, dramatic, and mildly illegal in at least 2 corners.
End of lap 9. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased, Carlos is now 10.4 seconds behind. P4 is 31.9 seconds behind Carlos.
Al, if you understood fear, you definitely feel it breaking into turn 1 on cold tires. Cold tires are nature's way of humbling racing drivers before they get too confident.
You have about 1 lap of fuel left. Don't forget to pit for more fuel.
This race is proudly supported by Precision Motorsport Electronics, technology for faster laps.
3.
Today's live coverage is sponsored by Blackline Racing Gloves, Grip, Control, Confidence. This stream is brought to you by Storm Aerodynamics, designed to cut through the air. Confidence increasing, grip decreasing.
End of lap 10. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, Carlos is 0.7 seconds behind P2. P4 is 18.3 seconds behind Carlos.
That battle cost a bit of time, a bit of tire, and unfortunately 1 position as well.
Position lost. Carlos is now P3.
Which driver has managed to stay out of trouble better than everyone else?
Joao, car number 2 is one of the cleanest drivers right now, with 0 incidents.
Clean. Almost suspiciously clean, actually. Someone out there thinks this is their shot at glory, and someone else just thinks it's a Tuesday. And that, my friends, is the beauty of sim racing. 1 more lap complete, and somehow the track limits still survive.
End of lap 11. Carlos is running P3. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Zaowen, P3 Carlos. Sector 2, Carlos is 0.8 seconds behind P2. P6 is 5.1 seconds behind Carlos. Dex, keep it useful and tell us what you are seeing.
That car behind is closer than shopping trolleys in a supermarket car park.
That is a cleaner summary than I expected from you.
The leader's pitting now. The leader just did a 38.718.
Oh, what just happened? That was interesting.
35.
That's an overtake with attitude.
6. You're
I'll
back in
confirm
second.
who made the move and who just got schooled.
Position gained. Carlos is now P2.
Drifting was not part of the strategy.
New incident X1, total 3.
That lap was something. Al, was it fast or just felt fast because of fear?
End of lap 12. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, Carlos is 13.0 seconds behind P1. P6 is 7.2 seconds behind Carlos.
One more lap done, and the rear tires are reconsidering their existence.
0.78.
End of lap 13. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased. Carlos is now 14.0 seconds behind. Carlos has increased the gap to P6, it is now 8.6 seconds.
The car in P1 just set the fastest lap. 34.076.
One more lap in the books, and somehow nobody exploded.
0.22.
End of lap 14. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased. Carlos is now 15.4 seconds behind. Carlos has increased the gap to P6, it is now 11.9 seconds.
Pick someone from the field.
Let's look at Ben, car number 77. Ben is currently running P4. Ben has 3 incidents. Ben's last lap is about 4.7 seconds slower than the fastest lap of the race.
Solid, not spectacular. I once saw a guy race an entire endurance stint with his wheel disconnected. Didn't crash once. The car parked. But hey, no incidents. Al, which driver has kept the incident counter busiest today?
Alberto, car number 4 currently has the highest incident total with 15 incidents.
33.6.
Danger, that is the kind of update that makes engineers sit forward. Another lap completed. The race pace is good, the emotional stability, less impressive.
End of lap 15. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, the gap to P1 has increased, Carlos is now 16.7 seconds behind. P3 is 14.0 seconds behind Carlos.
Al, who has dropped the fastest lap so far, and how quick was it, Al?
The fastest driver so far is Paul, car number 3, with a best lap of 1:33.660.
Wow, now that is the kind of number that gets everyone's attention. Fun fact, the 24 Hours of Le Mans has been running since 1923, which means drivers have been sleep-deprived and emotionally unstable there for over a century.
The data does not object to that interpretation.
Car 10 is driving like tire degradation is somebody else's problem. Car 11 is making that car very, very, very wide right now, aerodynamically and emotionally. Driver Spotlight 03 Al, who should we be watching right now?
Let's look at Carlos, car number 32. Carlos started in P3 and is currently running P2, gaining 1 position. Carlos has 5 incidents. Carlos's last lap is about 1.6 seconds slower than the fastest lap of the race.
The numbers are not shouting yet, but they may have something to say later. That was either precision driving.
End of lap 16. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, Carlos is 12.5 seconds behind P5. Carlos is holding the gap to P3 at 13.9 seconds.
Driver Spotlight 06 Al, find us a driver having a race worth talking about.
Let's look at Paul, car number 3. Paul is currently running P1. Paul's last lap is about 0.3 seconds slower than the fastest lap of the race.
Interesting, nothing dramatic there, but definitely worth keeping an eye on.
The car in P1 just set the fastest lap, 33.6.
Al, the crew is getting involved now. Which driver are they waiting for?
Zaowen, car number 1 has recently been through pit lane and is now running P3. That could matter as the race settles.
35.
Sneaky. Somebody is playing the long game out there. End of the lap and we're still in one piece. That's progress. Al, tell me we're not last.
End of lap 17. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaowen. Sector 2, Carlos has reduced the gap to P5, it is now 8.7 seconds. P6 is 18.2 seconds behind Carlos. Dex, tell me what looks interesting out there.
The Mulsanne Straight at Le Mans used to be fully flat out before chicanes were added in 1990. Apparently, 400 kilometers an hour was considered slightly excessive.
Agreed. The next few laps should tell us more.
Where should we be looking right now for the next bit of action?
The closest battle is currently for P4. Zaoan and Joao are separated by only 1.7 seconds.
Not disastrous, just quietly getting the job done, steady. Deck's cleanest driver 11 Al, who has kept the cleanest record while the rest of the field collects souvenirs.
35.
Ben, car.
Oh, that was chaos. Oh, that was tight, Al, who just pulled that move and who's now rethinking life choices.
Position gained. Carlos is now P1.
That lap had commitment, bravery, and at least one questionable braking point.
End of lap 18. Carlos is running P2. Podium, P1 Paul, P2 Carlos, P3 Zaoan. Sector 2, P2 is 7.9 seconds behind Carlos.
Keep it up, we're in a great spot.
Professional racers rarely waste movement. Every steering input is calculated, smooth, and annoyingly efficient. That overtake attempt had optimism levels normally reserved for lottery tickets. Al, which driver has spent this race politely passing almost everyone?
Carlos, car number 32 is the biggest climber so far. Carlos started in P3 and is now running P1, gaining 2 positions.
Impressive. Al does not get excited easily. Al, which driver has given the incident counter the hardest workout today?
Alberto, car number 4 currently has.
We laughed, we screamed, we questioned life choices, and now it's time to log off. Al, give us the podium legends.
Carlos finished the race in P1. The podium is P1 Carlos, P2 Paul, and P3 Zaoan.
You have about 2 laps of fuel left. .061. You have about 1 lap of fuel left. pit to refuel. Pit box in 5, 3, 2, 1. Right here. We're done. Get going. You have about 5 laps of fuel left. Car 3 is up the front. 56.18. .375. car in P1 just set the fastest lap. 32.948. White flag. Stay smooth. 35.538. You've got about 2 laps of fuel. There's the flag. It's over. Good job. Very good job. Okay, the race is over. Bring it on in. Pit box in 5, 3, 2, 1. Right here.